Okay, I'm not sure if this is broadcasting or not, but let's go for it. I'm Chris, and last year I made a video on my experience living with a Muslim husband. My husband has now been here for almost 3 years, and at the end of the video, I promised that I would tell you guys how I met my husband and a little bit about my life and the things I do for him and stuff. So first off, I'm going to tell you a little bit about I want to talk about actually catfishing first, because a lot of people are going to comment about that on how we met. There is a lot of catfishing out there. My mom has been catfished. I was catfished, and actually my husband helped me figure out about the catfishing. And that is one of the things that really is important to understand about catfishing. Is they're going to show you pictures of good looking people so that they think, oh, I'm going to show this person, they may not be the best looking person, but I'm going to show this person that I look like this, and they're going to want me because I'm a good looking person. And they're going to think, oh wow, how could this good looking person want me? So when someone catfishes you, one of the main things that they don't want is they don't want you really to know about their family. Meet their family or know anything about their family. They will not do live video with you. They will make up excuses saying, oh, well, my camera doesn't work, or I don't have a camera. You know, just a lot of stupid BS so that you don't know who they are. That is one way to know that they're catfishing you. Another way is if they do ask you for money to help them out. Oh, well, you know, my friend can't help me out at this moment, or my family can't help me out at this moment. Can you send me some money? That's another way to tell if they're catfishing you. Now, how I met my husband was an online site. I'm not going to tell you what the site was. Don't want to get in trouble for naming names or anything like that. But we met on a site. I saw his picture and the background looked cool. He looked interesting. So I clicked on the picture and I checked out his profile. I checked out some of his pictures and stuff like that. And he saw that I was checking him out, so he decided he would do the same. He came over to my page and, you know, looked at my pictures and everything and decided, you know, hey, I'll chat her up and see what happens. And we started chatting. First thing we really chatted about was, you know, the difference in cultures, the difference in countries. He was interested in me because I spoke English, and I don't mean by he was interested in me as in, oh, hey, this is someone I can date, someone I can, you know, fool into getting what I want. No, he was interested in me because I spoke English, and he wanted to improve his English, and he just wanted a friend. We became friends, and we started talking and hanging out on video and everything. Not long after I started talking to him, I met both of his brothers and love his brothers to death. His one brother is what I call my partner in crime. Him and I get along really well, and we just love to mess with each other, and we hang out, and we have a lot of the same interests and stuff. So he's my partner in crime. Not long after I met both of his brothers, I met his mom. Got to talking with his mom and everything. And of course we had to use translation because I don't speak Arabic. She barely speaks English. So, but you know, we got to talking, got to know each other and everything. And like I said, that's one of the things with catfishing. They don't want you to know their family. They don't want you to know anything about them really. And that's what was different with my husband, is I got to see his family. I got to meet his family, got to talk with his family. And not long after we met, there was a holiday over in his country, so he went to visit his grandparents, who he calls Yama, which is grandma, and then Baba, which is his grandfather. That's what he calls his grandfather, is Baba, which means father. But he went over there, and I met like 4 or 5 aunts and uncles and all these cousins and everything else. And like I said, catfishers don't want you to know that stuff. They won't introduce you to those people. But I live chatted with his family nonstop, spent a lot of time talking with them, you know, just getting to know them and getting to know him. After some time, we were going to date. We didn't think anything would become of it because he always said he would never leave his country. You know, he has to take care of his mom. He has to take care of his brothers. You know, there's just too much over there that he has to do. Too many people he has to take care of. So he would never leave his country. Well, you know, online dating, it's not like it's anything big, okay, whatever kind of thing. Well, after some time of dating, we fell in love with each other. And falling in love with each other, he's like, okay, you can't come over here because of your situation over there. There's no way you can come over here, which means I'm going to have to come over there. And we started talking about that and everything. And after some time, we decided that we were going to get married. And I was like, okay, so we're going to get married. And we just have to decide when. And I came up with the money for my plane ticket, went over there, and I spent a wonderful month getting to know his family, seeing his country, and we got married over there. And it was a very interesting wedding, to say the least. I wish I could upload some of the video for you. I might actually do that later on. But it was an interesting time over there. I had a great time. It is different being there. Some Muslim countries do require, once you hit their airspace, that you wear a hijab. I did not have to do that when I was there. I did not have to cover my head. I did, though, respect their culture. I did not wear tank tops. I did not wear shorts. I wore jeans and I wore t-shirts that covered my backside. So I was respectful to their culture, to their religion. And that is one thing that people have to understand. They have to understand that cultures are different. And you have to respect these cultures. You have to respect their beliefs. And you have to respect their laws. There is just things that you do not do in other countries. My husband's country, you do not kiss in public. Walking with your arms around each other in public is not something that you see very often. Usually if you do see it, it's guys hanging out with guys and girls hanging out with girls. And no, I'll tell you all now, that does not mean that they're gay. It is just the way that they're brought up, because they're brought up to be separate so that there is no sexual tension or sexual feelings, so that they can respect each other. Guys hang out with guys, girls hang out with girls. They do see each other in schools, they do meet, they do, you know, want to date and things like that. But their way of dating is not like our way of dating. They do not go to movies, they do not go to cafes together, they do not hang out together. It is just a really different way of dating over there than it is over here. It makes it, I guess it'd make our way seem like we're just a little too easy, honestly, because they go through a lot to understand people and to become in a relationship with someone. The best way to put it is, I would say it's more of a respect that they have for them. And a lot of people are like, wait a minute, what do you mean respect? Well, okay, over here you see girls in short shorts, short skirts, you know, barely wearing anything. The girls over there, they dress. And I'm not talking about full on Muslim dress, you know, the niqab, the hijab, fully covered and things like that. The girls wear clothes where they are fully covered, but I'm not talking about the full dress. They'll wear shirts, they wear pants, or they do wear dresses, and they are covered. There is nothing showing. So the men learn to respect the women a little bit more than they would if they were over here, because they see all of this showing and they think, okay, well, that girl is just an easy person. I can do whatever I want. And, you know, that is pretty much a consensus over here. A guy sees a woman wearing, you know, a bikini and short shorts, and they're like, okay, well, you know, I can do whatever I want. She's a hot girl. No, let me tell you first off, whatever a woman wears, it does not mean you can do what you want to do. All right? A woman is needing of respect. Yes, a woman should show respect for herself, but a woman needs to be respected no matter what she wears. All right, so let's get that straight right there. But back to my time over there, my husband kept me pretty busy. He showed me around where his grandparents live. I spent, I think, a total of like 3 days up at the Capitol, and I stayed with some of his family there in the Capitol. And then we were at his family's house in Gafsa, and I got to meet a lot of family and a lot of friends. Ran all over Gafsa with my brother-in-laws and with my husband and with family and cousins and just relatives, going to weddings. Like, I think there was maybe like 2 or 3 weddings a day while I was there, which makes you think, how many weddings can they go through? Everybody should be married by now, but it was kind of interesting. I think we went to a total of 3 or 4 weddings while I was there. So did that in Gafsa, and then we went to Tozer, which is where his mother lives, and his brothers. Traveled with some of his friends, went up near Algeria, and then back down to his place. And yeah, I mean, I got to see a lot of the country. Everybody was respectful. If there was any trouble whatsoever, my husband was extremely protective of me. He made sure that nothing happened, that I was safe. Now, I am going to tell you, a lot of people have been talking about, you know, Muslim men are allowed to have 4 wives. Yes, per his religion, he is allowed to have 4 wives. Him and I discussed it already, that be participating in that. He is only going to have 1 wife, and that is me. But here's the thing about his religion. It does say that, yes, you may have 4 wives, but it also states that you may only do that if you can afford them. You cannot have a wife and then have another wife and treat one wife differently than the other. You cannot spend more money on this wife and spend less money on this wife. You cannot buy this wife a car without buying this wife a car. This wife cannot have an awesome house without this wife having an awesome house. They have to be treated equally. Everything that you give to one, you have to give to the other. So if you cannot afford to do that, then you should not have any more wives than just 1. That is the way it is stated in my husband's religion. So let's get that straight and out of the way right then. I just wanted to make those things clear. Now, here's one thing I know a lot of you are going to be like, oh, okay, he's making her do this. It's his religion and things like that. And I know this video kind of bounces kind of like my last video. I do apologize for that. I'm kind of scatterbrained, and whatever pops into my head, I talk about. So I had promised at the end of the last video, just like I promised to tell you guys how we met, that I would tell you about some of my day. Well, last year when I made the video, I was working 2 jobs. I had been working 2 jobs for quite some time. Children after my divorce. So I did work 2 jobs, and I continued that even when my husband came home. That was to help cover the last, because for quite some time, you have to understand that when somebody comes over here, whether it's on the K-1 visa or they're already married and they come over, there are steps that you have to take, files that you have to file, and forms that you have to do. And you have to get the green card, you have to get the work permits and all this other stuff. So there is that little bit of last time in order for him to be able to work and, you know, be able to support a family. So I did work 2 jobs. I would get up at 7:30 in the morning so that I could get my children up for school, take my kids to school after making them breakfast and making them lunch. I would take them to school, and then I would go to work myself. I worked at a pharmacy, and I worked from 9 in the morning until about 5, 6 o'clock in the evening. I would come home, I would make dinner, and then I would help my kids with their homework, put them to bed, and I would spend some time with my husband, and then I was out the door at 9:30 at night to go to my second job. My second job, I would get out of work at, excuse me, I would get out of work and I'd be home about a little bit after midnight, 12:30 at the latest, depending on weather and road conditions and things like that. I would come home, I would make my husband's breakfast, I would make his lunch, set out his clothes for the day. And once again, I know a lot of you are going to say, oh, well, he's forcing you to do this. It's because of the religion and things like that. No, these are things that I want to do to show my love to my husband and show that I care for him. It is my way of caring for my husband. So it is what I do. I make his coffee. I make his breakfast. I make his lunch. I prepare whatever I need to take care of. And I take care of what I need to take care of for my husband. Now, after my husband got established in a good job, he does work a lot of hours, and there was a comment about that one time before. My husband, during his busy season, which is roughly end of September, beginning of October, all the way until about the end of January, is usually busy season for him. Sometimes it's a little less, maybe the end of December, first week of January. And he would have to be at work at 4 o'clock in the morning, and sometimes he would not come home until 8:30 in the evening, and he would work 7 days a week. He was doing that to take care of his family, and it was required of him because of his job. That's what they required for him to do. And after he got established in that, and I was able to back down from working 2 jobs. I just ended up working 1 job. And after some time, I gave up both my jobs that I had, and then I went back to work, and now I am working only 1 job while my husband works. And yes, he still does have to be in at work at 4 o'clock, but now he's home anywhere between 3:30 and 5 o'clock in the evening, and he only works 5 days a week now. So we do spend time together. We do have our time to be a family, to be a couple. So that takes a lot of pressure off of me, so I don't have to work the 2 jobs. And, you know, we get us time, which is a really nice thing to do. Now, my last video, it didn't go big until about 2 weeks ago. All of a sudden, I started getting all these hits on it, and a lot of people watching it, and a lot of people making comments. So I want to read you guys some of the comments that I've had. Some are pretty good comments, and some are, you know, the terrible kind of comments, but I expect them. And really, some of the terrible comments are actually quite funny to me. So, I want to read one. This one is one that a lot of people expect to hear. This one woman, she is a Muslim American. She married a guy from overseas, and she was working on bringing him here. She got married, ended up having a kid, and it turned out that he was in it just for one reason, and that was to get the passport. And it turned out to be a bad experience for her. Now, I will tell you, there are a lot of good experiences. My husband and I are actually friends with a couple. She's American and he's from Algeria. And we spend a lot of time with them, and we enjoy being with them, and they're a successful couple. And there are quite a few of them. You just have to understand that the bad is said more than the good. You do not hear about the good as much as you hear about the bad. So the bad sticks with everybody. And I do feel for this woman that she was taken advantage of. It does happen, unfortunately. But I'm going to tell you, it's not just Muslim men that take advantage of women. It is men and women and I'm going to stress this, women from all countries, all nationalities, all religions that do this. They think America is the dreamland, which we portray it to be. So they come over here for a better life. And yes, people do get taken for a lot of money, for their emotions and everything else, just so that these people can come over here and get the paperwork. That is the wrong thing, and it is sad to hear, but it is something that does happen. So I want to get that out of the way right there. Another person was telling me that they're thanking me for my honest opinion. And this is my opinion. This is how I see things. This is what I have lived. Everybody has their own opinion. Everybody has their own experiences. Everybody have dealt with their own ups and downs. It's saying that American girls should understand cultures of the people that they are wanting to date or get married to and things like that. That is one thing that I really must stress. If you are a man or a woman thinking of dating a person in another country and of another religion, of another culture, get to know that culture, get to understand that culture. My husband has different religious holidays than I do. We celebrate his religious holidays just like we celebrate our religious holidays. We have to respect his culture and his religion just as he has to respect our culture and our religion. You need to research, you need to ask questions, and you need to understand before you just jump into something and be like, oh, well, he changed. He's not the same. She changed. She's not the same. Did you try to understand them? Did you try to understand their religion? Did you try to understand their culture? Did you try to understand where they're coming from? One thing you also have to remember, it is going to be difficult bringing someone from another culture over to America. They're going to have severe cultural shock. I mean, their way of life is so different than our way of life here. And you have to understand that you are going to have some really hard times. You are going to have arguments. There is nothing that can be done about it because they are getting used to the way things are over here. They don't understand, so it upsets them. You just have to be patient. You have to understand that it's different. That's all you have to understand. It is different and it is hard for them. Let's see, another one. One person was asking how we met, and I explained that in the video. Now let me tell you, if you are looking just for a